Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to focus on narrative tenses in English. So first we start by a diagram. As you can see in this diagram, we start from the past, we come to present, and later on the upcoming videos, we go to future. The first station in the past is simple past. One action in the past started and finished. So the action is started and over. If the verb is regular, it gets ed, and if the verb is irregular, we need to change the whole format and form of the verb. For example, I played the piano last night. Because I'm talking about last night, the verb play gets ed to show that this sentence was done or happened in the past. And for an irregular verb like eat, when we want to take it to the simple past form, we change it to ate. She ate pizza yesterday. So regular ones, we add ed. Irregular ones, we change the form of the verb or the word because they are irregular. Now, if you want to make it negative or questioner, we use did or didn't. Did for making question shows up at the beginning of the sentence, and didn't to make it negative. For example, did she eat pizza yesterday is the question form of the second sentence. But be careful. When did or didn't show up in the sentence, ed disappears, and also ate should be conformed or converted to the normal, let's say, form of the verb. So did she eat pizza yesterday? Not did she ate pizza yesterday. And for the negative form, the story is the same. I didn't play the piano last night. I didn't play the piano last night. We continue by past continuous. What is past continuous? Again, one action in the past started and finished, but it was in a progress. It was in a progress. And the format is was or were, depending on the subject, plus verb and ing. I was driving on the street. You were studying. But as you can see, these two parts, these two sentences, in spite of having a correct grammar, it doesn't have a complete meaning. That's why, in order to have a better format of making a sentence in the past, it's better to mix or merge past continuous and simple past. So when we're talking about merging or mixing two sentences, we need something to link them, like while or when. While I was driving on the street, I saw you. Now my sentence has a better meaning, has more complete meaning. While I was driving on the street, I saw you. After while, I used the ing form sentence, and the other part is simple past. Or you were studying when she called me. You were studying when she called me. Don't forget, after while, we can use the ing form, the continuous form, not the simple past form. I cannot say while I saw you, I was driving on the street. That's not correct. So let's go a bit further. We talked about simple past, we talked about past continuous, and now we want to continue by past perfect. What is the definition of past perfect? Again, one action in the past started and finished. Then you might think, well, why do we need past perfect if the definition is exactly like simple past? One action in the past started and finished. Well, the answer is because by using past perfect, we want to show that first, two or more actions happened in the past, and by using past perfect, we want to show which action happened further in the past, first or further in the past. The structure is had plus past participle, third form of the verb. Look at this example. I had started studying for master's before I moved to New York. So which one happened closer to present? Moving to New York. But before moving to New York, he already started studying for master's. So I had started studying for master's before I moved to New York. So again, it shows two actions happened in the past. The one that I use, past perfect for that, started further in the past. And the simple past one is closer to present. Tony knew Istanbul so well because he had visited the city several times. Before, several times he had visited the city. And that's why Tony knew Istanbul so well. And it has continuous format too, had plus been plus verb ing. We want to show that one action in the past before another action started and it was in a progress. They had been talking for over an hour before Tony arrived. So before Tony arrived, one action was in a progress. What was that? Had been talking. And because it was in a progress, instead of simple version of past perfect, we use past perfect continuous. Now, let's do an exercise together. As you can see in these two short paragraphs, we've got a lot of incomplete let's say blanks that you're going to incomplete sentences that you're going to fill it by using the correct form of the verb in parentheses, and it should be either simple past or past perfect. You can pause the video, fill in the blanks, and after coming back we can check the answers together. All right, so I can't believe I got that apartment. Why? Because we're talking about one action in the past. There is no sign to show that, okay, if this action happened before the other action, it should be past perfect. Not at all. I can't believe I got that apartment. I submitted my application last week. Last week is a sign to show, is an indicator to show that we're going to use simple past. But I didn't think I had a chance of actually getting it. When I showed up to take a look around, one action happened before that. What was that? There were at least 20 other people who had arrived before me. So when I showed up, one action already happened before me. And what was that? Well, a lot of people had already arrived. So that's why we use past perfect. Most of them had already filled out their application and were already leaving. The landlord said I could still apply, so I did. I tried to fill out the form, but I couldn't answer half of the questions. They wanted me to include references, but I didn't want to list my previous landlord because I had had some problems with him in the past and I knew he wouldn't recommend me. So before I knew, which is a simple past, one action happened. What was that? The problem that he had with his landlord. That's why he uses past perfect. I had had some problems with him in the past and I knew he wouldn't recommend me. I ended up listing my father as a reference. Now we continue by another exercise, and in these two short paragraphs, we should fill in the blanks by using simple past or past continuous. Put a pause on video, watch it carefully, fill in the blanks, we come back and check it together. All right, last night while I was doing my homework, I told you before that after while we use the continuous form of the sentence, not simple past. While I was doing my homework, Angela called me. She said she was calling me on her cell phone from her biology classroom at UCLA. Calling is not something that happens in a moment. You call people and you talk, so that's why it's progressive. She was calling me on her cell phone from her biology classroom at UCLA. I asked her if she was waiting for class. Was waiting, again, waiting is progressive. But she said that the professor was at the front of the hall lecturing while she was talking to me. So the professor was at the front of the hall lecturing while, continuous, she was talking to me. I couldn't believe she was making a phone call during the lecture. Again, making a phone call. I asked what was going on. She said her biology professor was so boring that several of the students were actually sleeping in class. What a boring class. Some of the students were talking about their plans for the weekend. And the student next to her was drawing. See, we're talking, was drawing, were sleeping. They are not something that happens in a second. It is in a progress. That's why they all should appear in continuous form. A picture of a horse. When Angela told me she was not satisfied with the class, I mentioned that my biology professor was quite good and suggested that she switch to my class. So it was pretty quick because the title of the videos and this playlist is Quick Grammar. You can go back, watch the video one more time, and then do the task and put a comment in case you have any questions. Thank you for watching. See you in the upcoming videos.